Hola. I guess now as good as the time as any. Hey. You. I'm Krishan Wright. I'm the founder of Black Sick Global, the host of the Black Sick Global podcast. Uh, I'm joining you live from my home, not in Lisbon, Portugal. So I'll get to that. But yeah, so it's good to be seen. It's good to see you. Yeah, Fridays. Usually I don't go live on Fridays. Honestly, I was trying to go live yesterday, but in the midst of unpacking, well, really packing and then unpacking, you just be forgetting where you put stuff. So for like days, I was trying to find the charger to my computer. And then I was like, ooh, I still can't find it. I guess I can't go live. So literally about whenever I sent the email, 2 hours ago, I was like, oh my gosh, I found it. So, and I'm going to, yeah. Well, I'll save that other stuff for later. But anyway, that's how life be when you be moving. See, I got stuff behind me. Like, no, I was going to say, I'm like, my life is in shambles. It's not. It's good. It's good. It's good. So yeah. Hope you guys are doing well. This month, normally January is like the longest month because you're coming off of the holidays and toward the tail end of December, usually things really slow down, right? So, depending on the type of job you have, you just might be like working from home or holiday parties or things like that, or, work gets real light and you lose concept of time. And then New Year's comes. And so January typically feels like the longest month ever because then you have to like start paying attention to time and writing the correct date and everything. However, for me, I'm like, what? It seemed like yesterday was January 1st. And I'm like, how is today the 23rd already? How are we almost in February? I'm like, what in the heck? This is like the fastest January ever for me. Oh my goodness. Okay. So let me say hi to y'all. I'm sure you guys got some questions. So yeah, so we'll get into it. Hey, first in the chat. How you doing? How you doing? Howard. Hey, Kay Renee. How you doing, girlfriend? Hey. Kay Renee. Hey, to love more. Happy Friday. Yes. Yes, when people, places, and things no longer fit, it's time for a change. And I feel like it's appropriate for me to talk about these things because I have a track record of when things change, when life changes, when things no longer fit, I bounce, right? So it's my shtick. Hey, positive thinking, Arizona's in the hills. Hey, Geraldine, how are you? Hey, Junket, how are you? Yes, I think we're going in. We'll see how it goes. Hey, Ann. Oh, look who is our friend throwing the Dutch in there. Knowing I can't say these words. I'm gonna try. Let's see. Because look, maybe I'm in Amsterdam. Hallo and guten Gudenvond. Okay. Good evening. Yeah, okay. Yes, good evening from Amsterdam. See, look, yeah, I might be in Amsterdam. You don't know. Hey, Black Espat to be. How are you? Hey, Deborah. Hey. How you doing? Oh my gosh. 12 to 18 inches of snow. You've got to be kidding me. Nah. And that's like where I used to live. Back in time. Back in time. Wow. Hey. Good afternoon. How are you? Hey, BJ. How are you? committed to me forever. Yay! I know, right? Like, look, Thomasina, how are you? I was thinking about you. Hey, hey, hey. Good afternoon, Amethyst. Hey, the luxury bucket list is in the house. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, Nichelle. Oh, she's good. I don't even know. Y'all can't see her. Let me see if I move out of the way. Can you see her? Let's see. I don't even know. Let's see. Can you see her? Yeah, you can see her. She's laying on the couch, like in the one area that is clear. Like I literally put the lights, I found a charger. I started putting my lights together. I don't even know if it's like super bright. Everything is discombobulated. Everything. Everything. Yeah, but she knocked out. Plus, she got groomed today, so she's like, tie. Hey, Shalonda, how you doing? Hey, Jess is in the house. Hey, yeah, for a minute, some life changes. Doublet, how are you? How are you? Hey, Patricia. Oh, snow coming in Philly. Y'all with the snow. Oh my goodness. Hey, how are you, Bridget? How are you? Hey, Flirty Liz, how are you? Hey, Venus. Yeah, what is good in the EU? I want to know. I want to know. Hey, refreshing words. Look, y'all got y'all all on here. I'm like, dang, maybe I should switch my days to Fridays. Hey, dropping knowledge. Hey, Linda. Hey, Marguerite. How are you? Long time no speak. Hey, Jackie. Hey, Janice. No. Although that is a good place. Yeah, I should. Yeah. Rosna, how are you? Hey. Let me tell you. Yeah, you know what? Maureen will tell you. Wait, were we in? Were we in? I don't know, Maureen. Remind me, refresh my memory. Because when we were delayed, I think, yeah, we were delayed coming out of Amsterdam, going to Nice. And then at some point, after a couple announcements, I understood a little bit. So it was like, girl, they're getting us a new plane. Yeah, I feel like so many countries. Oh my gosh. I did my count because I took one off because I was like, technically, it was a layover. So I don't count layovers. So really, I'm at 25 as of last week. Country 25. Yeah. I mean, if y'all been following me, you might have an idea where I am. Or if you've been paying attention to the last couple lives, because there was some Easter eggs in there. There were some Easter eggs in the live. Yes, I know. She's exhausted. Hey, Adelia. Hey, girlfriend. Adelia. Hey, Shantae. Yeah. Woo. Let me tell you. Yes. Oh my gosh. Never flying them again. Although they ran me my money real quick. So, that's one thing I'll say about the EU. Yeah. See, some people be paying attention. Ireland. Yes. More on that. More on that. Yes. Whoa. Oh my gosh. Y'all are killing me with the snow. Well, I won't bury the lead. I'm not in a place where there's snow. You know me. Look, I used to live in Albany, New York. Greta will tell you. She already said 12 to 18. Doop. Y'all ain't got to worry about. You do not have to worry about me. I am not there. I am not anywhere where there's snow. Yes. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Look, let me tell you, 25. I know. It's amazing. Um, I know. Or you might be hearing it in this live. Mm, could be. Could be. Oh, Janice, you're in Albany? Oh my gosh, my old stomping ground. Oh my goodness. I turned up the heat. I might have put it a little too high. We'll see. Either that or I'm having a hot flash. Let me take these socks off and see if that helps. All right. Because now I don't have my old place. I have my trusty remote and I'd be like, doo doo. And now things have changed. Things have changed. All right. Um yeah. Oh wow. We have to talk about Ireland. We have to talk about it. Albania. Ooh. Oh, okay. So y'all are on to the guesses. Okay. Y'all can throw your guesses in there. So yeah, let's get started. So announcements. The podcast is supposed to come back next week. Hmm. Now that I found the charger, it's looking promising. But if it's not there on Monday, don't be upset. Just be patient. It will come. Uh, but like I said, the fact that I got the charger, it's looking promising. You know what? I think I'm gonna have to turn down this heat. Because this is a life of when you move, you have to relearn everything. Okay, because I was about to die. But I left you in good hands. Wait, James Baldwin, because I left you in good hands. Okay, I'm back. Oh, that's so much better. I'm like, I missed my room. Anyway, so yeah, let's talk about it. So yes, the podcast should could possibly come back on Monday. We'll see. We'll see how the weekend goes. Um, and got some feedback from our Black Global Passport Plus members. So, if you've been paying attention to past couple lives, 2026 ushered in Black Global Passport 2.0. So, for those of you who are joining and watching live for the first time, Black Global Passport is our private community where we have accountability meetings every month that I lead. And then we have workshops. And then for our Passport Plus members, they get the accountability groups. And also our course, our 34 lesson course, our Move Abroad Black Set Blueprint. We have members all over the world, over 30 members and their families living in Portugal. There's people living in Spain. There's people that have moved to Thailand, Vietnam, wherever you want to go, we're going to get you there. Italy. If you are on the fence, if you are a Black American and you are thinking about getting out of Dodge, which you should, come on in. Come on in. Oh, yeah, I don't even have my link. Let me tell you. It literally was like, look, I found a charger. I can go live. I don't have anything. Let's see. Let me drop a link. I appreciate y'all giving me some grace. Okay. So I'm going to drop a link. Okay. So yeah, the past couple lives, I've been talking about different things, drop some Easter eggs in there. We talked about last year being the year of the snake and shedding things, what we were letting go in 2025, what no longer fit, where we were overextending ourselves or, noticed that places and spaces where we were in, we needed to expand and grow in different directions. And that 2026 is the year of the horse. And then we also talked about, it was probably the last time I went live 2 weeks ago, which was what moving abroad requires of you, right? And so showing up differently, being able to stretch yourself, so getting outside of your comfort zone, even once you do make the move, if you want to get to the next level, be it relationships, be it work, be it just your own personal growth, it'll require you to put yourself out there to do something that you've never done before. Maybe you want to get your body in shape. You're going to have to, lift weights or work with a trainer or whatever. You're going to be pushed into different directions should you choose to accept the challenge. But also, our brains are hardwired to keep us safe and comfortable. And so there's always this push pull of, well, we know, right? Because people say, what, the devil you know versus the devil you don't. We know what's comfortable, but the unknown is uncomfortable. And the body doesn't want you to go through, the brain doesn't want you to be in discomfort. It wants you to stay in comfort, even when comfort is discomforting. So people, when they think about leaving the US, it's all fine and good when it's fantasy, when it's a dream, when it's an aspiration, even as they get inspiration and information. But being able to synthesize that and to then commit yourself to getting into community, to taking a step further and quieting the noise, putting the horse blinders on and zeroing in and honing in on what countries, what cities, what towns, whatever. Sometimes when it gets to those things, visas, residency, citizenship by descent, as whatever it is, when it gets to those more lower, not lower level, but those intricacies, sometimes it's overwhelm, right? And you're like, oh, I can't do it. I don't want to do it. This is too hard. When you feel that, that's when you have to push a little harder, right? Find the find the strength within to push. Jess said I shed some pounds by walking. Yeah. Yeah. It's all shedding. It's all shedding. Yes. Yes. Chinese New Year. Yep. February. Yes. So it's a good time to still be thinking about, like, what are the things that you're releasing, right? We're 23 days into the new year. Oh yeah, and was this my first live of the year? I don't look, no, this isn't my first live of the year. Let me tell you, like I said, packing, unpacking, moving fur animals. So in any case, yeah, so I've been quiet. I didn't go live last week. It's been 2 weeks. And, it was a good time to have this conversation because I've been abroad almost 2.5 years. March will make 2.5 years, which is hard to believe. Some of you have been listening to me on the podcast since its inception, 2020, right? Almost 6 years of Black Sit Global. Some of y'all was celebrating on the yacht a few months ago in Lisbon, Portugal, where I no longer live. But I chose Portugal with intention. And I just want to kind of quickly bring people up to speed with the journey. So, I was living in the States, wanted to move to New Zealand. My daughter was like, too far. Didn't qualify for a visa anyway. And then through the podcast, right, I met Shar and did a scouting trip to Costa Rica, aka Nosta Rica, and came to Portugal a few months after and fell in love with the country. Looked at a couple cities, actually looked at quite a few cities. And I vacillated between Nazaré, where they have the 100-foot waves, and Lisbon. And I was like, oh my gosh, right? And so Emily, who some of you have remembered, my friend Emily, who's Portuguese, who came on the channel last year, I drove her nuts for like a year. Like, I'm moving to Nazaré. I'm moving to Lisbon. I'm moving to Nazaré. And then finally I was like, I'm moving to Lisbon. But yes, I chose the country carefully. I chose the city carefully. And so this isn't a story about regret or running, but it is about goodness of fit and evolving and changing. And so I feel like this season of my life and of my journey is one of evolution. And so it's just to illustrate to you that intentional choices can still evolve, right? And, for some of you, you may have chosen your career, you may have chosen your partner. Well, there's no arranged marriages in the United States. Um, chosen your house, your car, right? But then something changes, right? You may not have those same feelings about, your significant other or your job or your home or your vehicle or an outfit that you just bought, right? So we're human beings. We are constantly growing and evolving. And even when you make an intentional and big life decision, right? I moved what mm, 3,400 miles away from my kids when I left 2.5 years ago. Um, over 4,000 miles away from my mom, across an ocean to a continent where I did not have a family member and did not speak the language. And yeah, right. And forge anew. I did have a lot of things, though, that were in my favor because I had started Blacks Global. Let's see, what was that? 3 years before my move, 3.5 years before my move. I had the podcast community. When I moved to Portugal, there were 12 of us who were the original OGs. I think Marguerite is in the chat. She was one of the original 12 and did a lot of great things, in that 2.5 year span. Got many more members here. Like I said, we went from 12 members when I originally moved to over 30 before I left Lisbon. Um, had the yacht party, had the yacht for my 50th birthday. We did a bunch of events. Um, I learned Portuguese. I got my A2 certification last February. Traveled to, how many countries did I hit? I think 11 or 12 in the 2.5 years that I was in Lisbon. I think so. I think so. I think it was something like that. Um, and so, yeah. I'm just reading your comments. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Just reading. Um, so like I said, even when you're intentional about a move, you can still evolve. And there's also a period that I want to talk about because I know we have some people that are on the live that have moved. They either, um, already abroad, have been on the Black Sick Global podcast. Some of them are members of Black Sick Global Passport. But I want to talk about stages of moving abroad. One stage in particular. It's like when you move to whatever destination, your first destination, oh my gosh, the level, I don't know if life or anything can truly prepare you for that first country, that first city, that first town. Um, but when especially if you're a Black American and you're leaving the US, man, it feels like a drug. It feels like a high because your endorphins are like, wow, and the dopamine, and you're like, whoa, and everything is in technicolor. You want to do all the things, right? You want to see all the people, you want to go to all the museums or whatever it is that you're fancy, right? To the point where you're like, I need to sit on my hands because my ass stays in the streets, right? That honeymoon phase can last a long time, and we go into it in depth in the Black Set Blueprint in the course. Um, and so you evolve from your honeymoon phase, and for some people, like I said, it can last a year. Some people it can last a couple months, and there are times where we've talked about move abroad mistakes where people either move sight unseen, don't do enough research, and move somewhere and it's not a good fit, and they can like it's almost instantaneous. So like it's really almost no honeymoon, right? You get there and you're like, and then you have to question what really not what, but it's like, yeah, what? What's your why? Right? Because I talk about it. You have to be clear on your why. Your why is going to get you through when you're past the honeymoon stage. It's like a relationship. When you are with someone, it's new relationship energy. The person can do no wrong. You're just like, oh, you know, and it's just dopamine high after dopamine high, right? And then after a while, especially like if you've been in a relationship with someone for a long time, you're just like, why you chew like that? Right? Why you breathe so hard? Things like that. Like things that you overlooked before because the rose colored glasses come off. You get, past that to like the lived in stage, right? Where you're just like, okay, now I have to accept this or decide that I can't accept it. And so, that happens after you've set your routines and the novelty wears off and, you know, things that, like I said, weren't an issue become an issue. And so loving a place doesn't make you have to stay there forever, right? Like you can decide that you've outgrown it. And that doesn't mean that you've done anything wrong. It just means, like I said, that you get to a point where you're just like, oh, you know what? I've worn this jacket for a little bit and I'm okay. I'm okay with getting a new jacket, you know? So staying long enough to notice misalignment is a sign of maturity. And so, that kind of brings me to where I am in my journey. So, Portugal. Portugal is changing. For those of you who are inside of Black's a Global Passport, I share content every day, all day. And for those of you who live there, because I know some of you who live there, have noticed that things have changed and shifted. We just had an election last. When did Portugal have an election? Last Sunday was an election. Portugal had an election. Uh, there was no clear winner. There's supposed to be another election in February. And there was a couple of elections in the time. Yeah, a couple of elections. But there's a growing right wing. So there is a right wing similar to, you know, the MAGA maggots, not as aggressive, but definitely well funded, gaining traction, gaining political influence. And so the election that they had, I want to say it was like fallish. Um, there was some seats that were gained and things like that. There's also, talked about the bureaucracy in Portugal. Um, there was, I guess, by early 2025, a 400,000 case backlog. So for people that were applying or wanting to move to Portugal, people who had already entered the country couldn't get their residency cards. As of late, there were people who applied for their 3-year residency. So they've gotten their initial, which is 2 years, and went for their three, and either couldn't get appointments and they had expired documents, or got appointments and got processed because they were changing, like, oh, you need to apply through AMA, and no, you need to go to this mission center and all this stuff. No, and now not the mission center. You got to go through this thing and that thing. And in the effort of creating efficiency, it created more inefficiency and bureaucracy than before. And so there are people who still don't have their documents almost a year later for their renewal, right? Their permission to stay in country an additional 3 years, or even an answer, right? And so what happens when a country doesn't do that, right? You came in with certain rights, right? You have a right to residency, right? You have a right to stay beyond the time that your passport allows. And in most European countries, that's about 90 days, especially in the Schengen area. And so a residency permit, a residency visa gives you permission to stay in that country longer. But when you no longer have the ability to show documentation, and many people are travelers, like myself, that becomes challenging, right? Because you have to stay in the country. Because if you present yourself and they perceive that you have overstayed your visa, you can be deported. And where would you be deported to? You would be deported to the country that your passport originated from. That would be the United States. I don't want to go back. So, no, I'm not in the United States, for those who are wondering. I saw that was a question. You ain't deporting me back there? No. Mm-mm. Nope. Just for ICE to come and try and snatch me up? No. Um, so yeah, so timing matters. So for the people that have thought about moving to a country, things change, right? Requirements change. Usually at the beginning of every year, Bailey's leaving me. Countries reset what the requirements are for entering. Cost of living adjustments change, and so what you might need to show in one country to get a long-term stay visa might be one thing in one year and drastically different in another year. And so you have to have enough funds to manage that. There could be changing requirements even once you have been permitted to be in a country, right? They may come with a new rule or a regulation or requirement because there are political shifts, and immigration is a hot topic in a lot of countries, which is surprising because immigration is a hot topic in countries that have colonized so many other countries or destabilize their governments intentionally and then complain that those people are invading their country. Wow. If that ain't caucasity, I don't know what is. It's like, you're going to steal people, exploit their labor, steal and exploit their natural resources, right? And then be surprised because to build up your country, your empire, and then be surprised that those same very people want to come and get, a slice. Think about it. Diamonds, right? Diamonds are very valuable. If I gave you a bag of diamonds, you would be a happy person right now, right? But where are diamonds plentiful? Botswana. What is one of the poorest countries? Botswana. So how are you going to have all these diamonds, but then be so poor? Is it because, retailers like De Beers and all these and these governments come and they take your natural resources, like cobalt, out of what? Sudan, in the Congo, hmm lithium in Ukraine. Not an African country, but you get my point, right? And then you complain, oh, these people are coming in, right? But it's easy to scapegoat immigrants. And I, as an American living in another country, am an immigrant, right? We use expat. And I know there's a lot of talk about using the word expat versus immigrant. I identify as an immigrant, but I'm also a content creator for SEO, shits and giggles. Expat is a searchable term, right? Doesn't mean I'm elitist. I identify as an immigrant. As an immigrant who has legal status to live in a country, I don't have a right to vote, which is the same when they're talking about immigrants in the United States. They are not illegal aliens. Like, that is just another term to dehumanize a group of people. And we need to do better. We need to do better. Ooh, I said a lot. Okay. Ooh, shoot. In the chat roll. I wasn't looking. Okay. Let me just make sure I didn't miss anything. Okay. I'm going to answer your questions. I'm just starring them. I'm just reading the comments now. You're like, come on, tell us. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. I'm just looking, scanning. Hang on. So Patricia said, notice the change last visit to Lisbon. Very noticeable from the checklist. Wanted, and yes to the political change and residency uncertainty. Yes, it's turning quite a few people off. And even people who live in Portugal, who have lived in Portugal for a number of years, right? They built community, they built a home, either they shipped possessions to Portugal or acquired things. And then just the bureaucracy didn't work for them, or the tax structure. And that's one of the things that we talk about, in terms of mistakes, not doing your due diligence with respect to taxes, and either thinking that you don't need to pay taxes in the country that you're residing in, pay your taxes, or filing taxes in America. You have to. Worldwide income, United States. There's 3 countries in the world that want you to file citizenship-based taxation. The US is the biggest. So please don't get somewhere and thinking you're going to dodge Uncle Sam, because their reach is strong. And so, yes, some people have gotten themselves into tax situations because they either owed taxes to the United States or they owed taxes to Portugal, and they didn't check. Yeah. Ooh, yeah. Yeah. Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Facts. Facts on facts. I'm telling you, but I believe in karmic law. Hey, Diane's in the house. Um, you would think, but nope. And oh yeah, thank you for bringing that up too. So because I was about to go into my next thing, and then I was like, oh, there's an important change. So one of the things that we talked about last year with respect to Portugal, and there was a lot of chatter, not just about the right wing, which I wound up doing a couple interviews last year. Actually, I did quite a lot of interviews last year. Reuters interviewed me. That was one of them. And so requirements. So when I entered Portugal in September of 2023, so it was a 2-year residency permit. And then, you renew and then you can get your 3-year. Now, in 2020, it was 1 year. So when you got your initial, it was only good for 1 year. But by the time it had moved, it was like, oh, they were tired of people having to come back repeatedly. So they say, okay, your first residency permit is 2 years, then 3, right? And then at 5 years, you are eligible to apply for permanent residency, which means you can permanently reside in Portugal. And as a Portugal being a member of the Schengen, which are now 29 Schengen countries, if I'm not mistaken, allows you visa-free travel between those countries. And, depending on your situation, which I'm retired, right to work. So what happened as part of that shift that I was talking about with the right wing, there was a push, right? Because you want to blame the people that can't vote you out, can't affect change, even though you have a larger group of people that can come in that are paying money, that are paying their taxes, right? Everything I buy here has tax. There was a push to change that requirement from 5 years to 10 years for non-EU countries. The United States is not an EU country, which means the path to citizenship would be double. It would mean I would have to stay in Portugal 10 years and then apply, right? Doesn't mean I apply and they stamp, oh, yeah, you met the residency requirement, you met the language requirement, blah, blah, blah. Who knows? You might change another requirement. And they rubber stamp you. No, I just started by telling you that there are people who have been waiting over a year for an appointment, for a residency card, their initial. I waited 6 months. I was here. I got processed in November. I didn't get my residency card till May of 2024. So I couldn't leave, right? So you could meet the 10-year requirement, and then it could take you another 2 to 3 years to get citizenship. That's a long time. And I never have said that Portugal was my forever home. Never. Because I'm a traveler. Look, I travels all the time. Right? Y'all know last week, Ireland, right? So I can't be somewhere where I gotta be there forever. I started my journey, but I'm a citizen of the world. There's 195 countries. I was born into one, right? I lived in another, right? But there's more. There's more. Get in where you fit in. They do. They do. They do. Oh, wait. What was? Oh, hey. Thank you for this being a subscriber. Thank you. Ooh, Rio. Yes, yes. Um, okay. So, oops, where was I? So yeah, that's a long ass time. So timing matters. Timing matters. Timing matters in terms of money. Timing matters when things shift, right? And so, clarity often feels quiet because you have a moment of clarity where you're like, ooh, does this work for me? And so there's some signs and signals. So one of the things is when you feel discomfort is getting to a point where you stop rationalizing it. And like I said, we talked about a little bit about that towards the end of last year. Um, you know that you spend more energy coping with things than living. And so one of the things that was a rub for me, and I talked about it a little bit, probably not as much in this setting than with other people, but y'all know I have Bailey Girl here, and Bailey made the leap and moved with me abroad. And in my former neighborhood, one of the things that was happening was there were these uh, stray dogs and they were attacking the small dogs. And, I had video, I had taken footage, my neighbors, because, all had dogs, we all walked them at the same time. Um, we were like, what the hell's going on? So never could find an owner. Then there was one incident where this older gentleman in particular, who Bailey was friends with his dog, and he, got attacked. And then the owner, presumed owner of one of the dogs, tried to strike him. It was just a whole big thing. And then my neighbor went to the Fragazia and like talked to them or testified. I don't really understand all the things, but I wrote emails and everything like that, called. They would say, oh, call the police. Oh, no, no, call this person. No, email these people, run around. So they were also giving her runaround. So every time I'm asking for updates, she's like, oh, they're giving me the runaround. So then I started thinking, you are Portuguese. You were born here. You speak the language. So they're not doing anything to help you, Portuguese citizen. What are you going to do for me? So it was like, I can't have my little puppy eaten. Oh, so that was the rub because every time I was going outside, and I think I had shared that part. I remember I shared here. It was like right before I live. I took Bailey outside, and I was like, "Oh, I got like 15 minutes. Take her out real quick." It was dark, and then dies, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" Right? And then another couple incidents. Bailey never got attacked, but it was just very upsetting to constantly be on edge, um, to feel like not just for that reason, but there were other reasons. Lisbon started to feel not not for me. I'm from New York City. I'm from the Boogie Down Bronx. Shout out to Co-op City. I'm from a big city. And I lived in the suburbs for over 20 years as an adult. So moving to a city, I was like, I don't know. But during my scouting trip, I went to other cities and Lisbon kept kept pulling me back in. Um, so yeah, so I realized that for myself, some people would have said, hey, staying in Portugal, you've got 30 plus members there. Our most recent member moved in early December. Um, you've got community, like you're doing events, like why change? But you can change. You have a right to change. You have a right to change swim lanes, right? Because ultimately you have to let peace become the goal. All right. I said a lot. I said a lot. Ooh, good question. Great question. I knew you were going to ask that question. You're from Brooklyn. I want to move so bad. I promised myself I'm leaving by. Ooh, yes, yes. Do it. Oh, yes, 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 they have. Yes, they have. Oh, I didn't even talk about the Uber situation. Uber situation in Portugal, in Lisbon in particular, is getting out of control. And then there was a taxi scam. So, yeah, with a lot of changes, obviously, Portugal's gotten a lot of recent years, a lot of influx. Actually, the last data point that I read a few days ago is that there are now 10% of the population, of the total population in Portugal now are immigrants. Portugal is a country of 10 million. And so, yeah, when I moved there, things were cheaper, right? The Ubers were cheaper and the drivers were consistent. But yeah, the quality of the drives, a little craziness, the cleanliness of the cars, the rates changed dramatically, the shenanigans. And like I said, this most recent thing that we became aware of is a taxi scam. Not taxi drivers, not legitimate drivers, but people posing as taxi drivers, scamming tourists. So yeah, yeah, it was a bit much. Yes, especially when you come from New York City. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Ooh, Patricia said yes. It was not like that in 2022. It was not like that in 2023. But I was like, man, I'm gonna have to buy me a car. But that's why I started renting a car. And it was interesting because I finally tallied it up that in my time in Lisbon, I rented a car 19 times. It's a lot. It's a lot. Um, but great questions. I'm starring the questions because I am going to get to them. Krishan always said, yes, it would be New Zealand. And remember, last year I did a live on New Zealand finally having a visa that I could qualify for. Hmm. Yes, yes, they do. Thank you so much. Yes, absolutely. Because you know what? Your intuition is your internal GPS. And when a society beats you down and others in your group, and you're socialized either by, your ethnicity, your gender, right? To not listen to that, to be gaslit, to be told that water is not wet and the sky is not blue, and that January 6th was just a peaceful assembly of law abiding citizens, you know, you're just like, oh, hmm. But part of the process of deciding to move abroad and then being abroad is allowing yourself to reflect, to start to hone in and listen and relearn to trust your nervous system, to learn to trust your intuition, right? Your nervous system starts to calm, your inner voice becomes clearer and louder, right? Um, not in a way that is just destabilizing and dysregulating, but in a way that's informing, right? And so being able to learn to utilize that is wisdom and discernment, right? That's part of the process. So, like I said, when you let peace become the goal, then you know that you are being led by intuition, right? So, where am I? Where am I? Okay, so that's where I'm going to go to um that is where I'm going to. So a taxi scammer is my brother. So you get priority. So the taxi scammers, so they have like two phones, and then they don't really have the meter. And then they kind of take your card, and then they show you one price, but then they use the other phone to put a new price. And next thing you know, you're out of hundreds of dollars. So that's how it's working. Sorry, I started getting an update on my computer. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so your guesses. What are your guesses? I know some of you had guesses, so now's the time. I'm going to tell you where I am. And so I'm just going to look at some of the comments that were early. I know some of you guessed Ireland. I've seen Spain, New Zealand. Let me scan. I'm just looking for countries at this point. I know nobody said the US, but I already gave away I'm not in the US. Let me start that because I need to get back to that question. Hey girl, hey. Okay. Where I'm scrolling. I swear I'm about to answer. I'm about to tell you where I am. I just want to see your guesses. Jess is so funny. I really wish I was good at reading just flags. France. Oh, that's right. Some people said France, Albania. That's right. There was a UK, Netherlands, South America, Germany. Wow, Mexico, Thailand. Ooh, y'all know I love me so Thailand. I love me so Thailand. There is a correct answer in there, but I'm not gonna put it up yet. It's Brussels. Wow. Croatia, I was there for my birthday. Vietnam, I was there last February. Yes, that's good one. Good one. Yeah, so look so wise. Yes, that's right. Because it's cold. All right. So there was one correct. One in well, not 100% correct, but close, the closest. So I am in Coimbra. Yay! Zerubbabel got it right. I am in Coimbra. Portugal, which is north of Lisbon. 2 hours north, to be exact. So Porto is 3 hours to the north. That is too cold. Y'all all have heard me talk about Porto. I've had Bridget, my friend Bridget, who lives in Porto, here on the channel. She loves Porto. It is too cold for me in Porto, and they don't have palm trees, but they do have palm trees in Coimbra. So, I know. The planet plan. I know, I love you. Yes, Coimbra. So, for those of you who don't know about where Coimbra is, so Coimbra is, like I said, 2 hours north of Lisbon. It has one of the oldest universities in Europe. So it's a college town ish. It is a beautiful city. They have a wonderful, very large, long river that runs through it, the Mondego River. And it is pretty easy to traverse, so not as hilly as Lisbon, because Lisbon is a city on 7 hills, and depending on where you're going in the city, you may hit all 7 of those hills. So not as hilly as Lisbon. Uh, Demographic wise, it's a nice mix because of the university. You also have a younger crowd. Um, and where I was living in Lisbon, just to kind of level set a little bit, I was living in Portela, which is close to the airport. Actually, when you fly into Lisbon's airport, you're actually in Portela. You're in the city that I was living in, which was great for me in terms of the soft landing that I needed when I got to Portugal. But I was, in Lisbon, you know, gave me just enough, close enough to be into Lisbon, but also enough distance. Great for my language development because it was only like me and maybe 3 or 4 other people that spoke English. Not they were Portuguese that would speak English to me, but in terms of being an American, it was just me. So no expats were living there. So you know, I was able to hone my language skills for sure and feel pretty solid. Um, However, and being 6 minutes from the airport was a beautiful thing. So yeah, and yes, it is beautiful. The first time I came to Coimbra was actually with Shar. We filmed, let's see, it was December of 2023, and I actually filmed a teaser for the upcoming season of the podcast that year. And we were at the beautiful botanical gardens, and I was like, that was my first time in Coimbra, and it was on my heart to come for a while. And I was like, wow, I really was impressed with the city. And we found the botanical garden, just stumbled upon it, and spent hours in that bad boy, hours. I was like, oh my gosh, I love this city, and was one of the cities that I kept wanting to come back to. Once I landed in Lisbon, in Portela more specifically, um, I had been grappling with where I wanted to live. It's like, okay, this was the apartment, which I loved my apartment. This was the apartment to get me, into the country and get residency, but the goal was not to stay there permanently. As I said, Nazare was number one for a long time. I put an offer on a apartment apartment. Oh gosh, maybe a year and a half ago. And then I withdrew that. Was Seychelles for a long time. Um, Put in an offer for a house in Seychelles. Um, and so it was always looked at Oeiras. There were 3 cities that were top contenders for where I wanted to move. And I wound up not moving to any of them. Coimbra slid up in there at the last minute and was like, what's up, girl? And I was like, hey. And so for the past month or so, I've been quietly moving my belongings. And this week was the bulk of it, like all my furniture. I was moving everything but my furniture and my equipment because needed to, do my stuff. But yeah, the big move was just a few days ago. And so yes, it is. It is. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. And so being in Coimbra meant that I was moving away from um, quite a lot of things that were familiar, right? I had the metro, I had my Pilates studio that I had joined that I loved. Um, Housekeeper, my Bailey's groomer. Had a lot of creature comforts, right? 30-ish members, right? They're mostly in the Lisbon area. Close friends. The ability, well, when I'm in Lisbon proper, I mean, I tend to speak Portuguese, but, um, you know, I can get by with, English. So when I'm in Lisbon proper, like my Pilates class, like everything was in English. So, but when I go into my neighborhood, they ain't trying to hear that. And so I felt comfortable moving 2 hours away from Lisbon because I was able to say, "Okay, you know what? I can be confident, in my communication with other people." And so, this past month or so, I was coming to Coimbra. I spent New Year's here, watched the fireworks, and that I definitely wanted to start my new year here. Um, and so, yeah, it's been a process of getting to know the city, getting the cafe culture and the things that were missing from me in my old neighborhood specifically, but also having the space, right? I don't have there can be like a little bit more hustle and bustle in Lisbon. It's much more dense. There were places that when I scouted in 2022, when I moved in 2023 and 2024, that had changed significantly because of the attention that Portugal is getting. So either longer waits for things, longer times. We talked about the Uber situation. Costs started creeping up dramatically. Places that, frequented, it was like, okay, not anymore because somebody posted about it on TikTok and now, the price is not the price anymore, or you can't get a seat, or, there's just friction. And then, like I said, in my immediate environment, the thing with the dogs was definitely kicked it over the tipping point where I was like, eh. And in those earlier places, because like I said, I've been looking for a place since the time I arrived, I needed a goodness of fit. And where I am in my life journey, I'm 51 and a half and single. And so, dating wise, I'm excited about being in a new city with a new crop of people, and, new restaurants, cafes, museums, um, places where I can meet people, and see where things go. So, excited, excited. So, there it is. Yes, thank you. Yes, it does. And like it's 19 million like decision points now because in my old place, like everything had a place, right? And when you're moving, and thankfully I have some overlap between my Lisbon apartment and this apartment. And so I was able to like move things gradually, kind of set up certain things. But again, I didn't have the furniture. So, sleeping on the floor, sleeping on an air mattress, driving back and forth, renting cars to drive back and forth until I get, my stuff situated. But then once I got everything here earlier this week, I was like, oh my gosh, now where do I like the biggest pain point outside of having to get up to physically adjust the temperature? And it is colder than Lisbon because I'm further north. I'm 2 hours north. So it's about, let's see, I think it's like, what is it right now? Ooh, it's 41 degrees right now in Coimbra, and in Lisbon it is 46. So yeah, it roughly is about 5 to 7 degrees different. Um, but the biggest thing, pain point right now, well, I would say two, is one, I was a little spoiled. My was literally a 90-second walk out of the front door of my old apartment. And there is not one in my immediate vicinity. Like it's going to be a bit of a hike or a bus or Uber to get to the store. I've accepted that, right? Because my quality of life has improved dramatically. Um, so there's that. So the other thing is my old apartment had Whirlpool, appliances, so American size fridge, American size so I didn't keep any food in the house because I called the store outside and had a big continent, the big fridge. It was like, "Oh, I get a couple things," and it's like, "Oh, let me just go to the big fridge," right? I didn't need to keep food. Now I've gotta, like, replan how I'm shopping and everything. And, things are fresh and organic. So I can't like shop on Friday and say, oh, I don't have to shop again until next Friday. That shit's gonna go bad. It's not like America where they put all the pesticides and waxes and stuff, preservatives. No, 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 no. Food actually is supposed to rot. So I have to plan my trips differently. But yeah, the biggest pain point is these appliances here are all Bosch and it's not intuitive. So I don't know how I've been able to wash the clothes because I've been trying to wash the clothes, but the manuals are in Portuguese. And then I try to do the reading thing. Thank God for Chat GPT because I give Chat the manufacturer and the model. And I'm like, okay, I'm trying to do this. Give me the steps in English. That is how I've been able to do two loads of laundry because I'm like, how the heck? There's so many buttons, but there's like, it's not like it says anything. It's just a picture of one with like a little swoop with a drop, and one I'm like, what? Same with the microwave. Same with I made a pizza before. And I think I turned the thing to where it was supposed to be. And then the timer, I kind of figured that out. And then I turned off the oven and the timer was still going. I'm like, but in my old one, when you turn it off, like everything stops. So like 5 minutes later, it was like ding. I'm like, and then I had to turn the timer off. So all of those things, all those things. But is it worth it? Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm happy. Oh, talking about my hair? My grays, my grays, my grays. Yes, they drive me nuts. So I was like, at some point, I gotta read these manuals because I can't be doing this. Um, yes, 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 yes. Okay. Thank you. Midpoint, yes. It is more affordable, actually. I didn't go into it thinking it was gonna happen. Like, the rents, yes. Because the rents in Lisbon, a little crazy. But I had locked my rent. So I wasn't subjected to rent increases, and I would not have had one for the remainder of my lease term. Which April would have made 3 years in that apartment, um, but yeah, more affordable, rents. Yeah, everything, all of the services. Well, no, I mean, some things were the same. Like, well, actually, my cable went up just because I added something. But yes, it is supposed to rot. It is not supposed to stay. You're not supposed to be able to buy it on Friday, and then next Friday or the Friday after that is still edible. That is not food. That's fake. Uh, Yeah, I'm in it to win it. I'm due for my renewal. And so I had spent part of the holidays making sure that my address was updated. Um, I was busy last week in Ireland. I'll talk briefly about it. I also didn't go live because Miss Maya was here. She was here visiting her mama. And during her whirlwind brief visit, we spent some time in Coimbra, also in Lisbon, because I was living so close to the airport. It made no sense for us to stay here the whole time in Coimbra. So we stayed based in Lisbon, flew to Ireland, had a wonderful time in Dublin. There was a lot of Portuguese uh, things there. I was so surprised. Restaurants, pastelerias. I was surprised, actually. Um, Dublin is amazing. Such an amazing city. Definitely am going back. Ubers are more expensive, but because the Ubers are taxis, they're not private drivers, so they're metered. But oh my gosh, people were so nice. Oh my gosh. I was like, okay, Irish. Super clean, cold. Cold. But yeah, we had a great time. Yes, I am. Okay, so I know there were a lot of questions, so I'm gonna yeah, he gone. As soon as he came, he went. He gone. Ah, yes. Let's see. All right. Questions. Let me go through the ones I had starred, and then if I missed any, I'll go do another path because pass. Okay. Where are you now, and how has the move been for you, given all the upheaval with the EU over visas? What's the temperature for Americans looking to make the move? Ooh, good question, Richard. So I'm in Coimbra. Yeah, the visa situation, all of those things I mentioned are true, right? So still delayed. Actually, there was a article that was released earlier this week for those that are in Portugal specifically, who are going through their residency renewals and are unable to get either their documents. They've gotten approval but don't have their cards, or they're pending in the process. They're able to now get a document. But that doesn't mean other countries are going to accept that document. They kind of know that Portugal's a hot mess in that way. There was like the election, as I mentioned, on last Sunday, and Seguro and Ventura were the two candidates. And so now they go on to the second round of voting because there wasn't a clear winner. They have to secure, I think, 52% of the vote, not 51, if I'm not mistaken. It might be 51, but I think it was 52%. They did not. So there's another election early February or mid-February. And then that will be the person who is the president. But the presidential powers in Portugal are not, you can't equate that to the presidential power in the United States. It's not a ceremonial role, but the influence, let's say, is very specific. Good question. Nope, not in Spain. Not in Spain and not with Mr. Spain. Yes, no changes. No changes. The only, yeah, I wouldn't say any changes. I would say the only change would be based in Coimbra, and nothing else changes. Nope. Still gonna happen. Oh, so for those of you who are asking what Nomad Noir is our 10-day scouting program. You scout Portugal with me. We go to see various cities. We have conversations, meetings with various professionals to help you get your right answers so you can decide if Portugal is a good fit for you overall. And then beyond that, where in Portugal you might live, get to mix and mingle with some wonderful Black expats along the way, and we have a lot of fun. So our spring cohort is going to arrive in late May, Memorial Day weekend, and then our fall cohort, which is full. So that one sold out, but if you're interested in spring, you can join. And yeah, our fall cohort is in October. We will not have a 2027 cohort because mama's going to watch her child graduate. So I'm going to be blissful. Should you rethink? That's a personal decision. That's a personal decision. Based on everything that I've shared, you'll have to decide if Portugal is still right for you. Yep. No, I say come. I'm still here. But Portugal ain't getting rid of me that quick. I said it ain't gonna be forever. But no, in truth, I said from the outset, actually, when I moved to Lisbon, that I felt like Lisbon was going to be like a 2-ish years type of endeavor because I had some things that I wanted to accomplish. And the biggest at that point was the language. I wanted to do my A1, A2 certification, which I did. And so now that I live in Coimbra and a university that's close by, one of my goals for 2026, I'm pretty confident it's going to happen, but I would like to enroll in B1, B2 intermediate level Portuguese. So that is a goal. Oops. Oh, no, I did see it. I just unstarted and it went away. But there was a question was, did I get my apartment on Idealista? No. I worked with a realtor. Excuse me. Yeah, it was Lisbon. For all of the things that I mentioned and all of the things that you mentioned, yes. Smaller city, like I said, where I am in my stage of life, being a single woman and wanting to date, one of the challenges with Lisbon is it's a cosmopolitan city. And so you have a lot of tourists, people that are passing through, but that doesn't work for intentional connections. And so, and where I was in Portela, anytime I wanted to do anything in Lisbon proper, it would take 40 to 50 minutes to get there. And even if I lived in city center, like people are like, oh, why not move closer? One, I don't want to be around a bunch of tourists. Right? Just, you know, in the summertime, it can be painful to get around the city. Right now is like the off season, so much easier. But you can't enjoy certain things because it's cold, right? So Mirador's at sunset and having the sangria, like it gets to be a little bit more challenging. And then I had done a lot of things already in that honeymoon phase. But once I got past the honeymoon phase, particularly like I said, where I was, it was pretty isolative where I was in Portela. And then anytime I wanted to do anything, I need to go to somebody else's neighborhood to enjoy something, right? But like I said, even if I moved closer into the city, which that was like a non-starter for me, um, because I didn't want to live in a big city. And so moving to the city wasn't an answer for me. But even when you're in the city, it can be a pain in the ass. Like when Shar and I for the tree lighting, she's more, I wouldn't say city center proper, but not, she's literally metro. It's right outside her door. And it took us forever to get down to Plaza de Congreso. Mm-mm. No, nope. I was over it. I was over it. Okay, so let me see. I said I was going to answer questions. So those are the ones I had started originally. And um do do do. Yes, I loved Ireland. Uh, um, thank you. Uh, do, do, do. Yeah, read the lessons, absolutely. Ooh, yes. Do it, do it, do it. My brother was there recently. Yes. Doo-doo-doo. Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm. Answer that. Doo-doo-doo. Is Brazil an option? I don't know. That's a good question. So Cam, who's been on this channel, I don't know if you follow her. I think her Instagram is Cam Taking Pics. She was just in, I think she's back. Yeah, I think she's back now. We had dinner a few weeks ago, but she went to Brazil, loved it. Heather, who was in Passport, regularly goes and brought a group last year. So I don't know of a lot of people moving. I do know a lot of people who travel there. And I do know, for example, if you follow Deli and the Money Coach, her mom was in Brazil and she recently moved her to Portugal and retired her. So I mostly hear of people moving from Brazil, but traveling to Brazil. So, yes. And more specifically, like black and brown, like, gravitating more to Bahia for sure. Um, oh yeah. Yeah. Yep. And, it's happening pretty much everywhere. Hey, girlfriend. The Netherlands government is also considering increasing the 5 years permanent residency. Yeah, keeping 5 years to permanent residency, 10 to citizenship. Yeah. And my goal, look, if 5 years citizenship is still on the table when I hit my five, sign me up for both, right? Permanent residency and citizenship. If citizenship moves from 5 to 10, I'm good with permanent residency, you know, right? Like it doesn't change anything. Um uh yes. Yeah. Look, I lived in New Jersey. Yeah. Hey, how you doing? How you doing, girlfriend? Yay. Thanks for coming. Answered that. Do do do. Answered those. Mm-mm-mm. Any more questions? Let's see. Those were all the guesses. Mhm. I do like Porto, and I'm closer now, so I can take the train, which is good because then I'm closer to Bridget's food. Southern Gal in Portugal, yeah. Um, I know, I know. Yay! Oh, cool. Yes, yes. It is a beautiful city. I love the botanical garden. I wanted to go. It's interesting. Like the day after, actually, there was also a yes, there was an Easter egg. I was like, I dropped an Easter egg before. It was on New Year's. For those of you who follow me on the socials, where I panned and showed where Happy New Year and wrote in Portuguese. And I was like, "Oh, so if you follow me on social, there was a clue. There was a clue. There were clues." Um, yes, yes. And one of the reasons why, because somebody might be thinking like, "Oh, why didn't I move to Nazare? Because that was a contender." But again, so Emily is in Nazare, and I love Nazare, right? Beautiful, 100-foot waves. The You have the ocean, right? But you know that Portugal's got a lot of attention, and the HBO documentary, like the show, The 100-Foot Wave, it is inundated with tourists now. I'm like, what in the world? The locals can't park. They can't, get into restaurants. Like I hear it all from Emily, and I've seen it firsthand. My brother and I went in April when he was there. Off season it's fine, but if you live there and then you got to contend with that, and I don't do well with that type of stuff. So that took Nazare off the table. Yeah, it'll take more than that now. And since I've been here, I use my Portuguese all the time. I haven't. mm, Oh, with the exception of today when I took her to the groomer. But excuse me. But mostly everything is I speak in Portuguese. The food is amazing. Oh my gosh. I've been finding so many great restaurants and have friends here, and they give me great recos. Rent is more affordable than Lisbon. Ooh, yes. 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 Our Nomad Noir crew from last year, fall, we did spend some time in Coimbra. Yes, it is. It is. It is a very, very residency challenges are countrywide. Great question, Kim. So residency challenges are countrywide because AMA is um, you know, the part of the government that deals with that, the immigration arm. But stray dogs and all that, mm-mm. Dog poop everywhere? No. It's very clean, very walkable. I mean, I have a rental car while I'm, closing down my life. But because I had appointments and things like that, just need to put a pin and everything. Tomorrow I need to return some equipment, to the cable and like that type of stuff. So it's just easier for me to zip around. But walkable, like I walk to the downtown, great shops, like I said, diverse and diverse in terms of ethnic background, age makeup. Um, the restaurants are great. The supermarkets are plentiful. There are different markets than I had in my vicinity. Again, not walking distance because I had two stores within immediate, like, one was a 90-second walk, one was like a 10-minute walk. So that's changed. But the Mercado is about a 15-minute walk, 12, 15-minute walk, because I like to be leisurely. So yeah, that's been fantastic. Like I said, clean, flat. So yeah, don't have the same concerns. No metro, in terms of underground subway, but they have a bus that they call the Metro bus. But I haven't taken that yet. Ah, that's right. It is full of energy. Hey, girl. Hey. Yes. Thank you. I'm excited. Yeah, it does. I was over it. Well, it was Wednesday. I had 3 doctor's appointments in Lisbon, which I drove down. And like my second one was 2 different hospitals I had to go to. And I waited over an hour to be seen by the doctor and had the appointment. I was about to walk out and I was like, damn, I had to reschedule, whatever, whatever. So anyway, it was so packed. I've never seen the hospital that bad. I was like, Lisbon is just giving me the big middle finger. It was like, oh, you left us? We gonna leave you. um, yeah. Yeah, smaller cities, easier quality of life. Like I said, I feel confident in my communication skills. I'm still transactional, not conversational. Like I can understand more than I have words to respond. But shopping and stuff, that I don't have any issues with that. Ordering food, like I went to a restaurant the other night. Every shopping transactional interaction I do in Portuguese. Um, yeah, when I scouted in 2022, I remember almost everybody I met was paying between 600 to 900 for a flat. The most expensive was like 1,000. And by the time I moved a year and a half later, doubled. Yes, you did. Great guess. Yes. Yes. Um, Thank you. Well wishes. So yeah, I'm still in Portugal. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I'm going to eventually we'll do another Black's the Global After Dark. Get back on the dating conversations. So see who's gonna join me to have a tete-a-tete. Let's see. Yes. So the closest airport. So I'm no longer 6 minutes. So that's going to be an adjustment. So Porto's airport is, I've never flown out of Porto's airport actually. So I would estimate it to be about an hour and 15 minutes, give or take. But I can take the train, and Lisbon would be a good 2 hours. But certain um, flights are probably more available in Lisbon than they would be Porto. Depends on city that you're traveling to. So not worried about it. Even though I travel a lot, I'm not worried about it. Yes. I plans to go back. I loved Dublin. Loved Dublin. Oh my gosh. Food was great. We went to South African restaurant. It's a chain. That food was banging. It was so good. And yes, we toured the university's vet program, actually. That's why we went. It exceeded both of our expectations. It really did. I didn't commit to no yacht party in June. I committed to the country I'm going to celebrate my birthday. That room has already been reserved. I am not going to be in Portugal for my birthday, which is in June. Hey. Yes. Oh my gosh, the green spaces. It is. It's a lovely city. It is. Thank you. Yeah. You know. You know. But yeah, I'm not a tree. It's like I'm not a tree. So yeah, part of the process was telling, my family, telling my friends. It's busy. Like, I wouldn't, I'm not buying nothing. Mm-mm. Locating cozy. I don't see Lisbon as a possible dating option for me because it seems way more family oriented versus mature single options. So that's an interesting point. So I found the Lisbon dating scene to be a bit transient. Um, and also because I was so far out, not far, but like I have to keep in mind I have an animal at home, so I have to move a little bit differently. Um, so it was challenging. There were cities that I had mentioned earlier that were in my top 3. Um, and I have friends in all 3 of those areas, love the areas themselves, but they presented challenges with where I am in my life journey. So, case in point, Oasis leaned more towards couples and families. Uh, Seychelles, much, much older demographic, you're talking 60 and up. Um, and more on the up. um, and like I said, Nazare, because you have the surfer population and people that are coming in for the 100 waves and all that stuff. Similar challenge. So it was like, that's not gonna work. And so I didn't want to be like once I had ticked off everything off my list that I wanted to accomplish in the time that I was in Lisbon, it started to get really redundant. And like I said, I loved my Pilates studio. They are opening one or have opened one in Porto. I'm hoping they open one in Coimbra. Um, I will miss them. I miss them. Housekeeper, Bailey's groomer. Like I had my routines, right? Um, but like I said, after a while, it got redundant and, the packed metros. And again, when you have a city that gets a lot of attention, the infrastructure has to support it. And Lisbon is in the process of, supposedly building a new airport, also building another train line to support, the demand. But that doesn't happen overnight. It's Europe. These buildings, these cities have been here for hundreds of years. So you're going through, massive rocks, right? It's not, stick frame houses and drywall like in the States. It takes years to build a building. You know, they build homes in Europe to stand for 100 plus years, right? At the bare minimum, because these concrete, you know, versus like I said, stick frame in the United States. So it's just very, very different. It doesn't happen overnight. It's going to take multiple years. But there is supposed to be a high speed train between Portugal and Spain. But Spain is also having some challenges with their high speed trains. Sadly, there have been 2 accidents last week. Mm, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. I met quite a few actually. I met quite a few. I was going to Intercambio, diaspora a few times actually when I first got here, and met quite a few people, and always going down to Mambo and things like that. But like I said, there's always the balance because I was further out by the airport, and being able to socialize and then being able to get back to the dog. So yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Like I ain't counting the brothers out. I'd be crazy to do that. Um, hey Anya. Yes, Kachkaish and Fatima. Yes, and Coimbra. Yes. I know. Much cheaper, more, I would say affordable, I shouldn't say cheaper. I have an aversion of that word. More affordable. But I put an asterisk. A lot of construction, much like, most of Portugal, but um, a lot of construction. I would say more affordable asterisk, but you have neighboring cities. So Aveiro, Figueira de Foz, um, San Martino, and then, Porto isn't even what it was when I scouted it 4 years ago almost. Mhm. Dating a country, yes, vast difference, yes, and when I was on my scouting trips, I went to a bunch of cities within Portugal. Coimbra wasn't one of them, just in the interest of time, which is why I prioritized it shortly after I moved. I arrived in September of 2023, and then Shar and I came up here for the first time in December of 2023 because on that scouting trip, I took the train. It was the only time I've taken a train to Porto. I took the train from Lisbon to Porto, and along that train ride, it passed Coimbra, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, what a beautiful city!" And it stayed with me. And then I was like, "Oh, I want to go." And then when I came, I loved it. Spent hours, and I was like, "Oh, I want to come back." But again, having a dog and it being 2 hours away, it was like, "Oh, I'd have to rent a car," and then and then I don't know, like Coimbra just snuck up in there. Snuck up in there. Uh, yeah, yeah, boy, Bahia, yes. Bahia, yes. And it's on my list because we were thinking about going, but I had a what did what I counted it last year. Was it 6 or 7 countries last year? Um, I think it's leaning towards 6 this year. It's like, "Oh, it's gonna be less than yours." I'm like, "No, it's not." It's about an hour. Mhm. It's about an hour. Yes, you should. She's doing great. This little monster. You know what this monster is doing. This monster. This monster. She's sleeping now because when she gets groomed, she gets exhausted. So she's just been bleh all day after she gets back. But I love it when she gets groomed because it's just like it takes the life out of her. So she's just like, back tomorrow, she'll be all back to herself. Um, uh, boa. Sim, boa, boa, muito bem. Uh, yes. I'm glad. I'm glad. Yes, please. I committed when I committed to Portugal in April of 2022. After my scouting trip, I came back and I immediately signed up for an online self-paced program. I did that for a number of years 'cause I had stopped my membership in that community around the time that I was doing Portuguese classes. So for about 2 years. And that helped me because the way they taught, I was able to build a good vocabulary and I practice every day. And so I'm excited to then kick it up a notch, because there's still some things like we didn't really get into past tense, so I only speak in the present. But so there's some things that I need to tighten up. But for the most part, as long as it's in the present tense, we're good. I've got like a good sound vocabulary and can understand um, things. Yes, I do. Let me give you a link. Now that I got thing back up because, like I said, my whole thing's been in disarray. I will drop the link. Yeah, so I think yeah, just about every Nomad Noir cohort I've brought to Stubble. It is, and we always connect with locals there. Yeah, I also considered it. When I came in April of 2023 on my second scouting trip, I considered moving to Stubble. And it was funny because I was driving around today and I thought about one of those places in particular because I gone up a hill. And I was like, oh, if I had moved up that place in Stubble, not, not all of Stubble like that, but there's one property I looked at was like way up this hill and it was across the street from this like little bar and it was nothing but like 70, 80-year-old Portuguese men sitting there like talking and chain smoking. And I was like, I could just, apartment was pretty and everything. And I was just like, I just kept thinking, I said, "Oh, where's the supermarket?" They're like, "Oh, down, down, down at the bottom of the hill. Like, you see that where that boat is? It's down there." So I was like, "Well, what happens when it's raining?" I have to hike up this hill. And I'm like, there's nobody up here but me and these 80-year-old men. I was like, no. So, like, my old neighborhood, it was very established. We only had a central commercial. And so it was just mostly older people and nobody in my age group, no other expats, immigrants. Oh, well, other immigrants, but English speakers. And so it's just like, every time I want to do something, I got to go like, 30 to 40 minutes out in order to connect. And I was like, it's a rub. Hey, thank you. Thank you. Ha ha ha. You'll be seeing me there in September. I sure will be. Yes, that is on the plan. September. Yes, my move was much easier. The mover showed up. It was way more affordable. They were professional, did everything. It was a very smooth move from that perspective. And the fact that I had, it cost, but I had overlapping leases. And so that allowed me time to transition and then also came in handy when because I had bought the ticket for Maya in advance. I didn't know I was moving. It was just like, the things with the dogs and other things in the background. And I was just like, I'm ready. And then it happened and it worked with the overlap because Maya came in 6 minutes from the airport. We were able to stay based in the Lisbon apartment, came so she could see my new place in Coimbra, took her around, and then, we did some more stuff together. And then we started off to Ireland, which was a 2-hour flight, pretty quick, very affordable. Thank you, Ryanair. That was my first time flying with them. Yeah, it was all good. It was all good. Yeah, definitely. And then I love what's it? Luisa Tati, the main street, Luisa Tati. And you can take the bus. You can take for when I first got to Lisbon, I was taking the bus from Set Rios. And then I'm like, it was like €6, but I was like, oh, and I kept seeing it in Google Maps, but I don't know why I didn't put two and two together. That I could have just used my Navigant card and taken the regular yellow bus, the Caris buses. And then I did it, and I was like, damn, I didn't even need to pay the €6. I already had that. So, yeah. And I don't know about the public transportation. I mean, I know they have, buses and stuff here in Coimbra. I just, for the time being, I'm using a car until I, put everything to bed. And then I'll be just on foot. But yeah, I think I answered all the questions. Thanks, y'all. Gosh, oh my gosh, it's 2 hours. That was not my intention. Oh, wait, let me make sure I went through my yeah, I went through my notes. I think I answered everything. Yes. All right. Any final questions that you have for me? I know this is a Friday, but seems like some of y'all are gonna be snowed in. So if you join late, you can watch the replay. I hopefully dropped some nuggets that help you as you think about your move, whether it's you're already abroad and you're wondering if the city that you're in is still a good fit. If you're pre-flight, you already know that you're moving, but maybe giving you more to think about in terms of consideration. Um, I can, quickly go through like the things, the bullet points that I shared earlier. So I'll do a recap. Intentional choices, right, can evolve. Staying long enough to notice misalignment is a sign of maturity. Misalignment is often quiet, not explosive, right? Timing matters. Clarity often feels quiet. Let peace be the goal. And this wasn't a replan, baby. It was a recalibration. Yes. And you know what? You're not a tree. You're allowed to choose again thoughtfully. So I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Bom fim de semana. And then with some Portuguese since I didn't start it because I didn't want to give it away. All right. So I will see you guys next week. I don't know if it's going to be Friday, but we'll see. I will see you next week. But in the meantime, be safe, be well, stay warm. I know many of you are dealing with weather events where you live, but please stay safe and stay warm. And like I said, you might have an episode Monday of the Black to Global podcast, right? So till then, I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Ciao, ciao. Boa noite.